Hey everyone, this is Chris and Tony's Blood and Donuts.
Where we talk about and review your favorite horror movies.
So grab a dozen.
And a pint of blood.
And let's talk about the 2007 horror anthology film, Trick or Treat.
Hey everybody, how we doing? Welcome to Blood and Donuts. Thank you for listening. I'm Tony.
Thanks for coming on, everybody. I'm Chris.
And we're going to be doing Trick or Treat from 2007 today. We're going to be talking about, reviewing that film. There's going to be some spoilers, but first we're going to talk about some of the things surrounding the film. Just give a few facts and some background. Then maybe you can make a decision on listening to it. Watching the film yourself before we delve into the play-by-play, scene-by-scene of the movie, of the synopsis of the movie.
Yep. And this was pretty cool. It's like an anthology. It's 4 stories rolled into one movie, which I think is a cool idea. And they did it really well, I think.
I think they did a great job. And we've talked about this a little bit. We compared it to Creepshow by Stephen King, a movie that you love.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's definitely not for the horror film fan going in to want to be scared or freaked out or grossed out by horror. It's more of a funny horror film. It's not a comedy, but it's more fun. It's not trying to be too serious.
It's not trying to be too serious, but it does have some dark elements to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has an R rating for a reason. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it's a good movie. As of September of 2021, that's my thing here. We have Rotten Tomatoes a rating of 83%.
Okay.
On reviews, and an average rating of 7.2 out of 10.
Yeah, that sounds good. And the runtime is an hour and 22 minutes, so it's not too long.
No.
According to IMDb there.
Hour and 40 minutes? Is that right? I have an hour and 40. Is it hour and 20?
Oh, okay. Yeah, IMDb says hour and 22.
Okay, gotcha. That's probably right. And it had a delayed release. The film was originally set for a theatrical release in 2007, but it was delayed until 2009. So whatever you look at, it might say 2009, but it was really filmed in 2007. Mm-hmm. Like you said, it was anthology style. It's structured as an anthology with interwoven stories set on Halloween night, all connected by the presence of this enigmatic character named Sam. What do you think about Sam?
I like Sam, and we'll get to the reveal later, but he's just kind of ominous there. Looks like a sack boy with an orange jumpsuit holding a bloody bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked him. It's kind of just a creepy little. He's kind of in the shadows at first. He's not really doing anything too big in the beginning.
So when I was doing my research, I think they spent $12 to $15 million on this film, which. Okay. I mean, it's not huge, not a huge budget, but still pretty nice. And but it had a limited theatrical release, and it's really when it went to film and these horror fans really got a hold of it, started gaining some steam.
Yeah, because I don't remember it being in the theaters at all. Or if it wasn't for very long.
Right. So it's like a cult classic, and I can see why. This is it's set on Halloween. It's got elements of years past, Stephen King, Creepshow, Tales from the Crypt, all that good stuff.
John Carpenter, a lot of throwbacks to his movies. So.
Definitely. And Sam, the like you said, the childlike burlap sack figure he's a cool character.
Yeah.
And he's something different. And so he's a good mascot for this franchise. I guess they didn't come out with a sequel, but I bet they will one day.
I think so. I read where the director was wanting to. He's still working on the origin story of Sam, so he wants to release another movie that kind of delves into that.
The director's name, Michael
Dougherty.
Okay. Yeah. This is his first directorial debut. Obviously, it's his first, if it's his debut. Mm-hmm. And he's also known for, he co-wrote and directed and helped direct Krampus from 2015.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. The character of Sam is that mysterious trick-or-treater in the film. He enforces the rules of the holiday. That's a cool idea.
Right, yeah, because this town that this story is set in is really big into Halloween. I forget the name of the town right offhand, but there's a parade. There's all kinds of festivals going on. It looks really fun. It's kind of a town I would want to grow up in.
Absolutely.
All the stuff that happens in this movie, but
so you were saying it's set in Ohio, and it's a fictional Warren Valley. Yeah, which it sounds like Hattonfield,
right?
Illinois.
Hattonfield, yeah.
And like you said, they're all about some Halloween. And this little town is full of lore and monsters, apparently.
Right. Yeah, we'll get into that. Sure.
Yeah, and the cast is really good.
Yeah, I like the a lot of the jack-o'-lanterns that they used because the atmosphere is great. It's like I said, Halloween Town. Every house is totally decked out except for one or two. And most of those pumpkins that were on set there were either foam or ceramic.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. And so, I was reading that too. And you notice the practical effects that are used in this film. It's predominantly practical, and which I love. It gives that classic horror element. And we're seeing more and more directors go to those practical effects. And we've talked about that a lot in this podcast.
Yeah, kind of going back to it because that's how it was in the beginning. And then it went to CGI. And now people are starting to kind of go back to the practical effects, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. You and I were talking about some of the Easter eggs in this film before the podcast. Mm-hmm. There was a reference to The Thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is. And then Anna Paquin's character's name is Laurie, and that's kind of named after Laurie Strode from the Halloween film.
Gotcha. Also, like just a lot of references to other horror films and classic Halloween symbols and stuff. We were talking about The Thing. He at one point he goes, "You got to be fucking good at me." You know what I mean? Like that. That was awesome.
Right. Yeah, and that's a take from that, obviously.
Lots of tributes to Halloween, the spirit and the traditions of Halloween. Orange, black, it's all throughout this film. It's a pretty film. In that the Halloween rules that you see in Sam enforce, it really puts a unique twist on this on the Halloween mythology. Has a lot of pop culture references and just urban legends as well.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I said, the atmosphere is one of the best parts of this movie.
Yeah.
It's good, fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but really good atmosphere, good setup.
I agree. And as we're doing this podcast right now, we have a Sam action figure, which is actually my boy's. He saw it at the store probably 2 or 3 years ago, and it was so cool. And I agree. It has a light up pumpkin. He has his sack and everything. He has some heads. I think it's made by NECA. And they make some real. I have a Beetlejuice action figure as well. But so Sam is just he really stands out.
Yeah.
In this film as he's a good mascot. So I knew of Sam before I actually delve in and watch the movie.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Do you have anything else that you want to add before we go in and spoil this scene by scene?
No, I'm good. Let's do it.
All right. Trick or Treat 2007. From this point, if you want to go watch it, and then pause this podcast and you can kind of review it with us. At the end of this podcast, we will give a review, 1 to 13 donuts. Each of us will rate and review this movie and tell you what we thought about it, okay? Opening, a couple dressed as a robot and Flash Gordon returned to their homes. Their front lawn was decorated with numerous ghost crows, which are like these scarecrow-style ghosts, and lit pumpkins. The robot, Emma, played by Leslie Bibb, takes a jack-o'-lantern to blow out the light, but her boyfriend, Henry, and this name, Tamo Pennicott?
Yep, that's right.
No way that's right. Definitely. But tells her that it's against tradition to undecorate before midnight. Emma asserts that she wants all the decorations gone because her mom's coming to visit in the morning, saying that the yard looks like a crime scene. And she blows out the candle. She messed up.
So she doesn't care about tradition.
She doesn't care about tradition. She doesn't care about Halloween. She only cares about herself. She's selfish. She needs to die.
All right. And her boyfriend has more Halloween decorations than my wife, and that's saying something.
This dude, like these people, how did they get together?
The whole town just loves it.
And she goes, "I hate Halloween." At one point,
she's the one person in town that hates it.
They have pumpkins everywhere. They have dead, severed arms hanging from. They have these crows that you can't even walk. You can't even walk 6 inches in this yard without touching a ghost crow.
Right.
But she hates Halloween, and she waited like the night of Halloween after trick or treating. Right. She's like, "Let's take this stuff down."
And she should know the rules by now too. I mean, come on.
I mean, how long has she been living in was it Valley? What?
Gallows Valley.
Very forgetful Ohio place.
Not Haddonfield.
All right, but Henry, who is a true fan of the holiday, he promises to remove everything early the next morning and convinces Emma, meet me inside for some alone time. Mm-hmm. What is he talking about there?
Adult stuff, I think.
No, and she while he goes in, she goes, "Why don't you go upstairs and put on the tape?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a tape
I don't
like
know.
that.
Yeah, like I don't know what she's talking about. There must have been a time back in the day where you had to use VHS. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not going to delve into that. They put on a very risque tape, and I guess this is for them to. Yeah,
It's what makes the movie rated R.
exactly. Emma starts to take down some of these decorations, uttering the unforgivable. I don't even know can we say this on the podcast?
You can if you want.
All right. Well, she says, "I hate Halloween."
And you love a good movie that's set on Halloween.
Oh my goodness!
So this is one of your
Yes.
pet peeves there.
Oh,
You love a good movie.
I love a Halloween movie, and that's what's beautiful about this one. You turn it on, like I said, you're seeing the blacks, the orange and the blacks. You're seeing kids trick or treating.
Fog.
You're seeing pumpkins decorate. It's getting you in the mood. I watched this last week, and I was just like, I'm ready for Halloween. I'm ready to go trick or treating. She removes the sheets off one of the ghost crows, and it lunges at her, covering her in the white cloth. And they struggle and they tumble into the sidewalk where these passing trick-or-treaters, they stop to investigate. Under the sheets, a figure takes a bitten pumpkin-shaped sucker and slits Emma's throat. Her blood stains through the sheet, and the children run away. That's our first kill.
And that's a cool weapon too. He bites a sucker.
Yeah.
Uses the remnants of the sucker.
Yeah.
Like it looks like a half moon.
Oh, it's so cool. And I
blade.
feel like everybody has had some sort of sucker like that when they go trick. It's like that pumpkin, like a translucent orange, cheap pumpkin sucker. His is much bigger and nicer, but we've had something that looks like that. It's half bitten, it's very sharp, and that's what he kills with.
And it's cool that he got it to just look just like a blade.
Oh man. It's
How
so
did
cool.
he do
Yeah. But we don't really see him.
Nope, just a sack, right?
Yeah, just the sack. So you don't really see what killed her exactly, but it was really cool. She's taking these sheets off one at a time. Like I said, there's a bunch of these crows in the yard. She's taking them off, and it's like, and every time you're thinking something's
Here
going to
comes
happen.
the jump scare.
Yeah. She already sent the boyfriend upstairs. I think it showed that he's asleep.
Yeah, he passed out.
Yeah, so you're like
he was waiting for happy time and he passed out.
Yeah, he passed out. She's taken so long. She was down there for 10 seconds, and like she's ripping these sheets off. You know a jump scare is going to happen, so they give you a pretty good one right there.
I like that one.
I enjoyed that. The hidden assailant drags Emma's body back to the yard. Henry's lying upstairs. He's passed out, TV on high volume. Sometime later, he notices Emma has not come up, and he goes down to the yard where he notices that one of the ghost crows now has lights attached to it. He removes the sheet, and he screams at the sight of Emma's disembodied head on a stake, the pumpkin sucker lodged in her mouth. Credits. Now, does it do the credits there, or has it already done them? I can't remember. Like I was just like, that would be a cool if it just opened that way.
I think it did the credits while they were introducing the town.
Okay, that's
and
still pretty
the
cool.
festivals going on and stuff.
Absolutely, but that was, I mean, what a good start.
Right. And yeah,
And yeah, it just focuses on her. She has the sucker like in between her teeth. She has a smile, doesn't she?
right. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's kind of just lodged in there. And then this is a movie too that you'll want to kind of pay attention to the details because you'll see some characters and some scenes now that they'll revisit later.
Yes.
Which kind of ties everything together. So that's one of the cool things about this.
Yeah. And so I watched this in pieces. I would watch in pieces, and then I had to go back and watch a few other. There were some things that I missed. There were some things that you missed as well. Mm-hmm. And so we both. Yeah, it was the bus driver. You'll find out in the end, and just like I was a little confused about that, but we got it together. We pulled it together. And we found out who he was. The first story centers around the principal. How do you feel about this story?
I liked it a lot. It was probably my second favorite. I think the principal, played by Dylan Baker, Principal Stephen Wilkins, that was probably the second best character of this whole film.
He's great. He's like an Ed Flanders. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He seems like an Ed Flanders.
Yeah. And I think the director picked him because he's creepy and charming at the same time.
Oh my God.
He does a really good job.
Yeah, it feels like, you're watching those Simpsons Halloween episodes and like you're watching Ed Flanders.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Hey buddy, how you doing? Oh, he did such a good job.
Right, but much creepier.
Much creepier. So a portly boy walking through the neighborhood, knocking over jack-o'-lanterns. This is Charlie, played by Brett Kelly. Mm-hmm. And this is the boy from Bad Santa.
Yeah.
You'll remember him. He's grown up now, but he looks the same, baby face and everything.
It does.
He stops at one house and he walks up to the porch. He's knocking over jack-o'-lanterns, by the way. Did I say that?
No.
He stops at he's being a menace to Halloween, which is, as we already found out, not a good thing in this movie.
Yeah.
He stops at one house, walks up to the porch where it appears that no one's home. There's a bucket full of candy, and it's set out with a sign saying, "Please take one." The boy begins to put the entire contents of the bucket in his bag. When someone startles him from behind, the boy recognizes that the man's principal, Steve Wilkins, who addresses the boy as Charlie. Hey, Charlie.
And did you do the just take one, or did you grab a couple? Which kid were you?
You get a handful. I don't think, do they say just take one typically?
I mean, most of
Some
them
do.
Please take one. And then nowadays you can just look on your Ring doorbell and make sure.
Absolutely. That should be a Halloween sin that you get murdered for.
Right. Leaving out candy and not answering the door.
And just say, just take one.
Right.
Ugh.
Like, if you're not going to be there to hand out candy, just shut off the dang light and don't be there.
Exactly.
Don't waste the time, because by the time we get there, the people who like to wait for dark before we trick or treat, the candy's gonna be gone because Charlie took it all already.
But as we find out that Mr. Wilkins, this principal, is a murderer and a psychopath, so he was probably in the backyard dealing with one of these dead kids, right?
Spoiler alert.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, so he was probably back. So he's like, I'm going to put the candy out, because he didn't want to break the rules. I
Yeah,
guess.
well, it looked like he was coming home from work, though, because he walked in the front and saw Charlie on his porch
Maybe you're
taking
right.
more than one.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
What a jerk. You can give out one piece of candy, but it has to be a whole candy bar.
Right.
Full size.
Yeah, make it nice.
Man, that's when you got a full size candy bar, that's when Halloween was.
You felt like a king is what
Oh
happened.
my goodness.
And then you always went back to that house every time.
Oh my gosh. And you told everybody, you would go to school and it was like there was a house that was giving out full size candy bars this year. And they're like, no. People would lie. Yeah, there was one down the street who was giving out full sodas too. I got
Somebody had some chili down there too.
Wilkins sits down on his porch. He invites Charlie to sit and talk with him as he's offering him a chocolate bar. Wilkins explains rules of etiquette and how to properly respect Halloween. When Charlie begins to cough, Wilkins explains that the most important rule of Halloween: always check your candy. Charlie violently vomits blood and chocolate, and then he passes out. Wilkins drags Charlie into the house, the blood and chocolate mixture oozing onto his shirt just as his doorbell starts to ring.
And this is the scene that kind of made you sit back and say, okay, this movie's not as serious as you think. If you're, like I said, if you're going into it with you want to get scared and you want to get creeped out, this is not it. And this scene just kind of hits that point home, I think.
Yeah, and I like that. Some horror movies that we watch, we have to take very seriously. Mm-hmm. You can kind of watch this like, ew, with a smile on your face.
Right. Yeah. It's fun horror.
Yes, and it's said that he was highly influenced by horror comic books, mm-hmm. and this is coming through on this scene and every scene on here.
For sure.
But still creepy, still disturbing, but still fun in some way, which is surprising. Struggling with the body, he answers and he sees three teenagers who ask if they can take his jack-o'-lantern. He agrees. He gives them all some candy, including a small boy wearing orange footed pajamas and a burlap hood with buttons for eyes and stitching for a mouth, known as Sam, and he's played by Quinn Lord. Mm-hmm. You said that we see the boy one more time. Is that the second story?
Yeah, we'll see the boy in another story.
We're talking about Quinn Lord, who plays Sam.
Yeah, he's a minor character in one of the stories, but he's also the actor under the Sackboy suit.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. So there's a child that's like looking in to a dressing room. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Getting a peep show.
Yeah, getting a little peep show. And that's the same kid that plays Sam. And Chris told me that. I didn't know that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Wilkins then dumps Charlie's body in a large hole dug in his backyard where another child's body already lies.
Clown Boy, I think.
Clown Boy. Yeah. As he tries to bury the bodies, his small son, Billy, played by Connor Christopher Levins, appears in the upstairs window and shouts down to him repeatedly, asking for help on his jack-o'-lantern and if they'll hand out candy. Wilkins, who is frustrated, tells him each time, be quiet and wait for him inside.
Yeah, at this point, you're thinking, just shut up, kid. Let the guy get away with his murder that's going on. Like, because he's shouting, and I think Principal Wilkins is like, shut up. You know, I'm trying to do something here.
Right,
He's
right. So
bringing everybody's attention to him.
yeah. So at this point, I was worried. I was like, he just murdered these kids. His son's about to find out.
Yeah. And I'm thinking the big bad villain is revealed in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Like,
yeah.
Holy crap.
Oh yeah. So you're sitting there. The kid is like, "Are we going to do Halloween or not? Are we going to do the jack-o'-lantern? What are we like? What are you doing?" And he's like, "Just wait. Just calm down." Like kind of thing. And he was getting frustrated. And again, you're thinking, this kid's going to find out his dad's a killer. Meanwhile, the neighbor's dog is Zip. The dog is played by this dog. Why did they include that?
Yeah, because I thought his name was Spite.
His name is Spite, but I guess the actor of the dog, his name is Zip.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Zip needs some cred.
Yeah, sure. Give him some cred.
Yeah. He approaches the fence and he starts barking at as the first child in the grave begins to moan. Reaching out from under the dirty sheet with a clown costumed arm, Wilkins stabs the boy's arm with his shovel until one of the fingers gets severed and falls off, and he throws it to the dog to kind of distract him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's Mr. Krieg's dog. They're played by Brian Cox, which did a really good job too.
Mr. Krieg is Mr. Wilkins' neighbor. Mm-hmm. He's old. He hates Halloween.
He's the Scrooge of Halloween.
He's the Ebenezer Scrooge of Halloween. I mean, this guy hates jack-o'-lanterns. He hates trick-or-treaters. Mm-hmm. He hates Halloween. We'll find out he hates Halloween shows. He doesn't even like trick-or-treating. He doesn't even like Halloween candy.
Probably doesn't have his porch light on.
I bet he doesn't. This guy is he's the worst.
What a jerk.
But anyway, we find that all later. Right now, he's just the owner of this dog, and he's Principal Wilkins' neighbor. And Principal Wilkins threw the dog a severed finger, which I thought he was going to bring back inside, and and like Mr. Krieg was going to be like, "What are you doing?"
Totally give it away.
Yeah, but he comes into the yard. He peeks through a hole in the fence to speak to Wilkins, who is still struggling with the clown child. Wilkins passes off his activity. And because at this point, Mr. Krieg is saying, "What's that smell?"
Right, passes it off as like a septic tank.
Yeah, he says it's the septic tank.
Right,
and he goes, "Good, because it stinks." and then before he goes back in the house, Mr. Krieg goes, and Wilkins, get your kid out of my yard. Keep your kid out of my yard, or something like that. Right?
Do you think Krieg is he like the landlord for next door? You think is he like that? Is it that kind of relationship where it's landlord tenant, or is it?
I don't know. I think it's just sucky neighbor.
Sucky neighbor. Okay, I was thinking like he was so like wondering about what's going on in the backyard. He might have been the landlord or something.
And I just noticed something. Does he say keep your kid out of my yard?
Yeah,
because right here it says get your kid out of it.
Yeah, I don't know what he's referring to.
Was he referring to Sam? Did you see Sam at that point?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe he saw Sam just kind of in the corner because Sam likes to. He's still in the background at this point.
But we know what happens later.
Yeah.
So maybe Sam was in the yard. No.
No, I think Sam was in the house at that point. We're talking about that for later. Yeah.
Gotcha. Wilkins finishes the clown child off.
Finally.
This clown child
took him a while to
will not die.
He was a strong one.
Yeah, he's a strong one. You don't hear moaning or anything.
He was a fighter, man.
Yeah. With a blow from his shovel, and he completes burying the bodies. First off, when's the last time you dug a hole? I planted some roses, in some flower beds, which was pretty, soft and stuff. Yeah. And I had sweat rolling down the crack of my butt. You know what I mean? Like it was like some of the hardest work ever. No, when you see people in a film like doing these graves that are 6 foot, and oh my goodness!
No, I would hire someone to dig a hole if I needed one.
Oh, yeah.
I can't. No, that's too much labor.
It's a lot more work than you think it is.
I did a fire pit in the backyard, and it's just kind of like scraped off the top of the earth.
Digging is hard.
Yeah, nobody wants to
I
do
hurt
that.
in places that the next day that I didn't even know. I was like, man, I was using that muscle. That is nuts. And like, so it makes you understand like why people are found in shallow graves.
Yeah, because you don't feel like digging that deep.
No, that's ridiculous. Anyway, he finishes off the clown kid, right? And Bitter Wilkins ignores Mr. Krieg is frantic at this point, motioning to him, saying he's help, like he wants help. You can see him in the window, right?
Right. Yeah. He's because Wilkins is going back in the house because he's done burying.
Right.
And then you look over to see Krieg, and he's freaking out, kind of trying to signal for help.
Yeah.
And then it looks like something attacks him, and that's one of those scenes that you kind of want to make sure you watch, because that's going to come back later in our stories.
Absolutely. Now, Wilkins is like, forget you, and just like walks inside, like you said.
Yeah.
He seems annoyed, and when he's walking in, either at his neighbor, at the fact that he just had to dig a hole, which is,
I think he's annoyed at his annoying kid.
Yeah. And so he picks up this butcher knife, and he's walking in, and he's following Billy to the basement. And at this point, I was also thinking he's going to kill his kid.
Yeah. You're thinking at that point that this kid's about to go.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you need to run, kid. Your dad's.
Because this dude kills kids.
Yeah.
All the time.
Easy.
Yeah. So Billy runs ahead to a table covered in carving materials, and Wilkins approaches from behind. Billy says, "Let's make a scary face this time," as Wilkins puts his hand on Billy's head and brings the knife down. Oh, he's going to cut his throat, right?
Yeah. Or he's already stabbed his head one. Yeah.
Blood glistening on the blade as he draws it back. But Billy smiles and says, "Don't forget to help me with the eyes." As they look together, the severed head of Charlie on the wooden turntable.
So he's kind of turning his kid into a young psychopath
Yes.
at this point.
Yes. And so, and the child even alludes to, like, this is not the first, this is a tradition.
Yeah, it seemed like, they've been doing it for a while
We
now.
do that. We do this every year.
Right.
You know? So what a clever twist on that. And it's a rotten tale. It's disgusting, and I love it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's
you
where
know?
you're just kind of, it's good fun.
And that's what you get with this film. I think you get, what, 4 of these?
Four short stories, yeah.
And
that's one of them.
Yeah, and Mr. Krieg, you'll meet him again. He's in the 4th one, in the final act, if you will. And you're just getting these really weird, twisty, clever stories. And the principal, I'd say one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think it's a second favorite for me. I like it behind the other one.
Okay. So the second story is Surprise Party. And Lori, is it Anna Paquin or Paquin?
I'm saying Anna Paquin. I mean,
okay.
You know, you can't.
And she's been in a couple other movies, right?
Yeah, she was in True Blood, the HBO series about
Yes.
vampires.
Yes.
I thought she
that
was
was huge.
I thought she was really good in that.
That was huge.
Yeah, she was good.
And you know what? When I was in a hotel in Texas, there was like a Halloween cookie bake-off, and she was like one of the judges. Like, so I think she's like a horror scream queen now.
Oh, cool.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
And so she stars in this. She's a 22-year-old virgin. So they allude to the fact that she is virgin, and she's 22, which is and her sisters. Is sisters or friends?
One sister and then 2 friends.
Okay.
So the sister, the older sister is Danielle, and then there's 2 other friends, played by Monica Delane and Rochelle Ates.
And they look like supermodels. I mean, like when I watched it, I was just like, okay, casting, okay. These are tall.
So these are like college kids at this point because they're
Yeah.
22 years old. They're,
Okay, yeah.
They're out there. They can drink and all
Right,
that kind
right.
of stuff. They're partying, but yeah, still no 22-year-old
And
looks like that.
Anna Paquin. So she's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's a good looking actress. But these girls are just like the girls that she's with. The
Yeah.
3 or 4 of them. They're models.
Super
They look
models,
like
yeah.
they're Victoria's Secret
Yeah,
models.
they downplay Anna Paquin's beauty, I think, to make her look like the kind of the runt, if you will,
Absolutely.
or the
Absolutely.
underling.
Yeah. So she's a little shy. She's self-conscious, talking about Lori. And then, like you said, her older sister Danielle tries to boost her confidence by taking her to a Halloween party with her 2 friends. The girls all dress in fairy tale costumes. Lori is stuck being Little Red Riding Hood, a choice that she just despises, which we'll find out later. That's really cool. And the sisters, they tell her that it's tradition. They walk through town on the way to the party, picking up dates. But Lori's discouraged. She opts to meet the girls at the party later. Was it Danielle who kind of picks up the guy at the store very easily?
Yeah, I think it's Danielle picks up the guy at the store, and then the two friends pick up two dudes who were just like on the side of the road working.
Yeah, and it was just this. I mean, just like this dorky guy. They're like,
Right.
we're going to a party later.
And we don't have boyfriends.
We don't have boyfriends. You should come. Make sure you dress up. Right?
And it looked to be totally suspicious because there's no way
Yeah.
those guys would pick up chicks like that.
Yeah. They're supermodels.
Come on.
Yeah. So anyway, Lori opts to meet the girls at the party later. Meanwhile, a young woman makes out with a masked man in an alley. And this seemingly has nothing to do with anything, right?
Nothing at all.
Yeah. He affectionately kisses her neck, but when she looks down, she sees blood running down her body. The man smiles, revealing blood on his fangs. The woman screams and makes her way to the street where the people are gathered for the parade. Emma and Henry walk by in costume, but ignore her, thinking that she's just another drunk partygoer covered in makeup blood.
Yeah, that's where I would have, when I was still trying to take this movie seriously, I was like, why doesn't she just run out and yell?
Yeah.
But she just runs to the first person, and they're like, oh, she's just drunk. Don't worry about her.
And
so then run to the next person and scream that you're getting attacked.
How many movies, I mean, Terrifier, which takes place on Halloween, you know, like, so they kind of just write off Art the Clown. Oh, it's just Halloween. He's just dressed up. But like, he's freakishly...
Right. Yeah, he looks crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, Halloween horror movies are notorious for writing off craziness.
Yeah. You can only suspend your disbelief so much. And that's at the point, I was already past the point of like, okay, don't take this movie seriously.
Right.
But I hate idiot characters.
Rule number one, if it's Halloween,
you're going to die.
It's believable.
Oh.
If it's happening to you, like, you could have an arm cut off, you could be bleeding, but as long as it's Halloween, that's just a costume.
Yeah.
They'll write it off.
Don't try to get any help on Halloween.
No, on Halloween,
no one's going to believe you.
No one believes you. Everybody knows that. And let's see. At the bonfire party, did I skip that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the woman turns around. She sees a vampire standing behind her.
Mm-hmm.
She screams. He swings his cloak around her. He leaves her dead body on the sidewalk, leaning against a building, as if she's just merely passed out, and he walks away.
Yeah, and you kind of think she's passed out, and that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody suspects any wiser.
No. It's Halloween. It's Halloween. It's just a costume. Well, so now we're back at the bonfire party in the woods. It's nighttime. Danielle stands alone, worrying about Lori. Where's Lori? The others assure her that Lori's going to be fine. But Danielle wonders, saying, her mother said that Lori was always the runt of the litter.
We'll come back to that later.
As Lori walks down a dimly lit path in the woods, she senses someone's following her and shouts out that she's not in the mood and that they'd better come out. When no one responds, she turns and comes face to face with the vampire.
The vampire. Yep. And okay scene. It's just a little sneaking or following her through the back alley there and into the woods. She seems to be the next victim of this vampire, quote unquote, that already has one kill count.
Yes, but we know
he has more than that because it's someone.
It's Principal Wilkins.
Okay,
I mean, we're spoiling
we're
the whole
spoiling
thing.
it. It's Wilkins,
and she's going to be a vampire. I mean, she's going to be. I'm sorry, she's going to be a werewolf.
Yeah,
her and the girls are all werewolf, and so she's dressed up like Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah,
are they supposed to be like when you lose your werewolf virginity, as in you eat your first or take your first victim? Are they supposed to be chasing you?
Maybe.
Is that why? Like, oh, it's tradition. Like you have you have to be a victim. You have to kind of be the victim.
Yeah, you have to be Little Red Riding Hood getting chased by the wolf. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I like
that.
About
a lot of intricacies here with this movie.
I like that. He grabs her by the neck and he holds her against a tree, saying, "My, what big eyes you have!" before biting her neck. At the party, the girls are startled when a cloaked body falls out of a tree near the fire. Danielle nervously approaches the body and removes the cloak to see the vampire bleeding and begging for help. His mask is removed, and it's Principal Wilkins. Blinks in the firelight, and he's whimpering. That was really cool, right?
Yeah, that was cool because that was the big. Like, he's like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, it cuts from a scene, and you're just like, "Oh man, poor Lori."
Right,
poor Lori.
You think she falls? She's the one that's falling out of this tree or whatever.
Oh yeah.
This vampire is about to wreak havoc on this party.
Oh yeah.
And it's quite the opposite.
It's quite the opposite. Lori can take care of herself, it appears. It assures everyone, Lori appears and she lets everybody know she's okay.
Mm-hmm. And she has blood kind of coming out of her neck there,
yeah,
too.
she does. She has blood coming from her neck. She approaches Wilkins and she straddles him. And she tells him to bear with her. This is my first time. The other girls, they start to dance as Wilkins looks around in shock to see that all of their dates are dead. Lori removes his fangs, which are fake, as the girls rip off their skin, revealing coarse fur and lupin eyes. Mm-hmm. I mean, lupin fangs, right?
Yeah.
Lori begins to change herself and leans down to Wilkins to whisper, my, what big eyes you have, before lunging into Wilkins' neck. The other werewolves finish the remains of their dates, howling at the moon as Sam looks on from a nearby log. How cool is this?
So, yeah, really cool. The reveal for werewolves was, I still didn't get it until she ripped off her skin.
Yes.
As it were. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was still kind of like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And then when they started howling and everyone started changing, it was really cool. Really good twist.
Yeah. This is the nature of Tales from the Crypt. This is the nature of those little short things. You know what I mean? Like it was always like, it's never what it seems.
Right. And I like how Sam is always kind of nearby for these events. So it looks like Sam approves.
Yeah, Sam approves
it
of
must
this.
be part of the rules of Halloween.
So this town, not only does it have a psychopath who kills children, it also has Sam, who kills people who do not follow the Halloween rules, but it also has a pack of werewolves that lives amongst them.
And a wannabe vampire.
Man, it's time to get out of town. So did he kill her? The vampire? Wilkins?
No. Wilkins, I think he killed the one lady.
He did do that?
But no, he didn't kill.
How did he kill that one lady if he was a fake vampire?
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about
That's
that.
why I'm like, I guess I'm a little confused about that.
Yeah, I guess maybe he still just murdered her and was trying to be like a vampire. When he's already
he is a psychopath murderer.
Yeah,
but he didn't kill her just by biting her neck.
Right. That's correct. Yeah,
he did something else.
He must have.
Yeah,
it was under a cloak. We didn't.
I need to do more research on that.
We'll look it up and get back to you.
Yes. The third story is the Halloween school bus massacre.
Best one.
Is this your favorite?
This is the best one with the best character.
Okay. So this one interweaves a little bit of urban legend, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Really cool. It's got some lore behind it. I thought that my favorite character was played by Sam Todd, Rhonda. She's dressed as a witch, and she does a really good job. Very creepy.
Yeah. So Rhonda in this, the kids are very mean to her. They call her they say the R word. They call her
an idiot savant.
They call her Rhonda the R, which so I don't. To me, she doesn't look like she's special needs. She looks like she's socially awkward. Yeah. But at the end of this, she comes off as a badass.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, but these kids are awful to this girl.
Right. Yeah, all three of them. That's three of them, right? Or four. You have an alien. You have the leader, Macy, who's dressed like an angel. Mm-hmm. Schrader, who's something. And then Chip's the little pirate guy. Yeah.
Man. It's a good one. I agree. And I agree with Sam Todd doing a great job with this character. And again, you end up loving her. She loves Halloween. Mm-hmm. She loves her jack-o'-lanterns. Yeah, she has a bunch in her yard.
Yeah, she's the one that had the most pumpkins in her yard.
Yeah, and you'll see like part of the urban life, you gotta leave a pumpkin for each of the students that passed away. Mm-hmm. Okay. And let me get into that. Yeah. 4 costume teenagers. They don't look like teenagers, do they? Like middle school students?
Yeah.
I was thinking 11.
They look middle school, but they call them teenagers.
They scour the neighborhood for jack-o'-lanterns, and they stop at the home of a peer named Rhonda, played by Sam Todd, dressed as a witch whose yard is decorated with dozens of pumpkins, despite the fact that she's considered an idiot savant and nicknamed Rhonda the R by the leader of the group. Macy, played by Britt McKillop, dressed as an angel. Schrader, played by Jean-Luc Bilodeau, must be French, asked politely for one of her pumpkins and invites her to come with them, complimenting her on her costume. So he's just playing games with her.
Yeah, I think he's playing I'm the popular boy. He wants to act like he likes her to kind of get her to come with him.
Yeah. Hey, Rhonda, why don't you come and hang out with us? Kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. And but Rhonda gets over that pretty quick. So Macy leads them onward while Rhonda talks briefly with Chip, played by Alberto Ghisi. He's a pirate and they talk about the origins of Halloween. Mm-hmm. They arrive at the abandoned rock quarry, and Sarah, played by Isabella DeLucci, is an alien, asks why they are there and what the purpose of the jack-o'-lanterns is. Macy explains that the quarry is the site of a fatal bus crash in which 30 years prior has become the stuff of legend.
Yeah, and that's a cool. That's the lore part. That's really cool. That they have some backstory to this, and they have a tradition of lighting pumpkins for what's coming up next year that you're about to talk about.
I love that. So like campfires, Halloween. You're telling ghost stories, urban legends, stuff like that. That is a very Halloween thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm glad they chose to do this here, and they did it in a really cool way, in a very artsy, very smart way.
Yeah.
I like this. The bus was carrying 8 mentally disturbed children, clad in freakish Halloween costumes, and so troubled that they had to be chained to their seats.
A quick note here, Tony.
Yeah,
I did read this, and it was played by actual people with special needs, and they did part of their costume design. And apparently they loved being on film and filming it. So, it was pretty cool.
Oh, I love that.
So, yeah, I read about that.
Oh,
but yeah,
I love that.
All costume design, they all looked great in it.
Oh, that's cool. I love that. That fateful day, the driver, played by Gerald Pates, he deviated from his normal route while taking the kids home. Their parents, no longer able to stand the strain and humiliation of caring for them, paid the driver to put them out of their misery by driving the bus into the lake at the bottom of a rock quarry, intending to make it look like a horrible accident.
Yeah, and I liked the part where the kid's like, wrong way. He kept, wrong way. It's going the wrong way. Where the kid was... the bus driver takes the wrong turn.
Yes. Okay. So there's a kid on board who
he knows the way home.
He knows the way home.
When the bus driver goes a different direction to take him to the quarry,
he doesn't like that.
He's starting to shout, "Hey, wrong way!"
It's setting off some alarm bells.
Yep.
And so this is set in the 1950s or 60s. They're going back. They're like, oh, this is a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't think they give a year.
Yeah. And they're and again, and apparently the parents of these children are in on it with the bus driver.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, end it tonight.
Just run them off a cliff and you come back home.
Which is the most ridiculous thing
Right.
I've ever heard.
It's
in my
a bit of a
entire
stretch.
Life. Yeah, it is. But however, while double checking the restraints on the kids, one of them, the one you were talking about, that masked vampire played by Richard Harmon, he's able to free himself. He hijacks the bus, repeating he wants to go home. Disturbed and confused as he is, the boy accidentally puts the bus in gear, drives it over the edge of the cliffside into the lake before the driver can stop him. Macy says that the driver survived, but was never heard from again, and the bus was never recovered, possibly because the rest of the town just didn't want to bother with them.
Right. Yeah, that's the lore. That's the story.
Yeah.
And it's a good kind of a backdrop for the rest of how this story is going to play out.
Okay. And again, big spoiler: who ends up being the bus driver?
That's going to be our own Mr. Craig, the Scrooge of Halloween.
The Scrooge of Halloween earlier, who kind of came out and he's like, "Hey, keep your kid off my lawn." And what's that smell over there?
Right.
So he's an older man now, the survived bus driver, and he gets what's coming to him as well. The 8 jack-o'-lanterns collected represent the 8 souls lost on that day, and they're meant to be left at the lakeside as an offering. They walk to a rickety elevator. Macy, Sarah, and Schrader get in with the pumpkins to go down to the lake. Since the elevator will only hold 3 at a time, Chip and Rhonda wait for it to come back for them. On their way down, they hear the panic cries and screams of the other 3 children, and they watch as the lights of their jack-o'-lanterns go out in the midst. Rhonda tells Chip to stay in the elevator with the remaining pumpkins, saying that they will protect him. As she goes to investigate, walking through the mist, she eventually comes to the wreckage of the half-submerged school bus and sees the masks of the others floating in the water.
Yeah, and I thought other than Rhonda's yard, this was the coolest scene or the coolest scenery of the movie. You had the sunken school bus in the bottom of this quarry.
Yeah, that was cool.
It looked
the bus is like sticking out of the water, half of it.
Fog. I think you can even see some of the old masks still maybe hanging around in the water.
Yeah.
But very cool scenery there.
But the kids were trying to like show that something got us. We're dead now.
Yeah. This is where the prank is. They're playing like this. They're getting attacked.
She's suddenly attacked by 2 water-drenched figures covered in chains and runs to see a third disemboweling Chip. As they chase her, Rhonda drops and she steps on her glasses before tripping and hitting her head on a rock, blacking out. When she comes to, she sees the figure standing over her. She screams in fear, but one of them, actually Schrader in disguise, explains that, hey, this was just a cruel prank played by all of them to try, and he tries to apologize.
Yeah. And this is very, like you were saying earlier, creep showy, where Leslie Nielsen's character in one of the creep shows.
I love Leslie Nielsen.
He buries dude from Cheers. I can't think of his name right now. Ted Danson.
Maybe? Oh yeah, Ted Danson.
He buries Ted Danson and his fiance or wife in the sand, and they come back as covered in seaweed and chains and stuff to kill Leslie Nielsen. So that's very
harkens back to that.
That's what it made me think of.
Oh, I love that. Macy is unremorseful, kicks a still lit jack-o'-lantern into the lake. Macy needs her butt whooped, didn't she?
That's probably a rule that she just broke.
Into the lake, and whispers and giggles suddenly echo out of the midst. Schrader leads Rhonda to the elevator, and he hears the others screaming. Tells her to stay put while he goes to see what's wrong, though he suspects another ruse. But when he meets up with the others, they all see the figures of the 8 dead children rise out of the lake, still tied in their chains.
Yeah, really cool. That's why it's the best one.
You really wanted that to happen to
Right.
these kids. These kids were awful jerks.
All of them but Rhonda.
Rhonda
even
wasn't
Chip's in on it, right? Chip's
Yeah,
the
Chip's
little pirate.
Yeah,
Jerk.
I feel a little sorry for Chip, but
Do you?
yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, but so they run for the elevator, though Sarah is caught up by a strand of chains and dragged away.
Oops.
As she should be. The other 3 make it to the elevator to see Rhonda locked inside with the rest of the jack-o'-lanterns. Looking sullen but calm, they beg her, open up the door, but Rhonda, seemingly in a daze, just presses the button, goes up, leaves the others to their fate as the ghost children surround them. Rhonda exits the elevator and leaves the quarry, towing her pumpkins in her red wagon. She briefly looks at and passes Sam, sitting inside a cement pipe, as Macy, Schrader, and Chip scream, and they're ripped apart.
Ooh, that's the best one. That gives me goosebumps every time.
Yeah, so Rhonda gets her revenge in a cool way. She gets on the elevator. She it's almost like she seemingly waits for them to get to the elevator so
Before she presses up.
Yeah, so she can push the button.
She's like, hang on, is everybody here? Where's
Yeah.
Chip?
Well, we need one more. I just want to make sure everybody can see me push this elevator button.
Where's Sarah? Get Sarah over here for this.
Yeah, but you love it. You love it. And she don't look back because
No.
cool guys don't look at explosions.
Not at all. And Sam's there too.
Sam's
approves.
he approves.
I think she even looks over at Sam and kind of
Yeah, that's what it said. It says
him,
and like you would like in my mind, Sam puts up a thumbs up like this. He just got- you did good, kid.
He's looking at her like giving her the nod. Like,
Oh yeah. So
job.
Rhonda gets her revenge, and it's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. Again, this town is nuts. How many people have died in this town?
So other than the 8,
Yeah.
before you got 2 clown kid, Charlie, the 2 in the beginning, that's 4.
Principal Wilkins.
Yep, all the surprise party guests.
Oh yeah,
Like 7 or 8
by
of
the
those.
werewolves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a massacre of about 30 people.
Yeah, we're in the upper 20s or
Yeah.
30s.
Why not? Why not? This is a cool town. They're probably gonna be like, yeah, we typically lose about 30 to 40 every Halloween.
So
Just depends.
This was a good year. Not too bad.
We've done pretty good.
They got a Halloween kill count going
Oh yeah,
on the news.
man. So story 4 is where we meet Sam.
Finally.
Yes, and again, Sam he's been lightly in every. I would say lightly. He was the first. He was the first killer.
Yeah, he was the first, but then
But you don't get to see him.
He kills, but then they go back earlier that night or something.
Yeah.
So he kills
Yeah.
but yeah, he's in the back of every one of these little stories.
3 trick-or-treaters walk up to the porch of a dark old house with no Halloween decorations, and they nervously knock on the door. It opens to pitch darkness, and they nervously hold out their bags saying trick or treat. 2 glowing eyes appear, and a growling is heard. The children run away as the monster chases them across the yard, and Mr. Krieg appears in the doorway. He calls out to his dog, Spite, and picks him up to remove the monster costume and a glowing headpiece.
So he decorated his dog to scare kids away.
Absolutely.
The kids shouldn't have been there in the first place. There's no lights on. It's clear that he's not going to have candy.
Exactly.
He didn't even leave a bucket out.
Everybody knows that if you don't have candy, you turn your light off. But maybe in this creepy town, you have to give out candy.
Yeah, that could be one of the rules.
And it seems like that's the I get that in this. The reason Sam shows up is because of that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that, but yeah, it could be.
Like, Sam enforces the rules, and Sam is like saying, hey, you pass out candy on Halloween.
Or else.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my sucker out.
Or you get the sucker.
Right.
I love that. The eyes on the dog do look creepy, though.
Yeah.
In the darkness.
I thought that was
he put
cool.
on there. He collects the children's dropped candy, and he retreats inside where he proceeds to burn old pictures in his fireplace. That sounds like a good Saturday night, doesn't it? Just a good Halloween.
Who doesn't do that?
Let's just sit around. You want to go burn old pictures with me?
After the kid and stuff's back from trick-or-treating and all the trick-or-treaters are gone, you just burn pics in the fireplace.
Everybody does that on Halloween, right?
Who wants memories?
So he's sitting by the fireplace, burning pictures, of course. He sits in his chair. He's going to watch some TV, takes a bite out of a candy bar, but he's just disgusted with it. He swaps it for a bottle of liquor.
Smart.
This is a good Halloween.
Smart. Can we do that right now?
He's sitting in his chair watching TV, eating candy and drinking liquor, and burning old pictures.
Goals.
Mr. Creed,
Life goals.
He acts like he hates Halloween, but he's got it. He's doing it big.
He's doing it right. That's what he's doing.
Since there's nothing on TV that doesn't have anything to do with Halloween, Krieg turns it off and he hears Spite barking outside before seeing an egg hit his window. He runs to the front door. He opens it to see that his entire yard is decorated with dozens of jack-o'-lanterns. The end. No, I'm just joking.
Right. Yeah.
Did Sam do that?
Maybe.
Did Sam throw the egg, or was this the kids?
I would think the kids threw the egg.
Okay.
But would they have also decorated? I wouldn't think. No, they got scared and they ran off.
Okay.
I figure Sam probably did all that decorating really quick since he's an alien sack boy thing whatever he is. Yeah.
Alien, demon, skeleton, pumpkin sack boy thing. I like that. Spike continues to bark in the backyard, and Krieg goes to investigate where he has his conversation with Wilkins. So this harkens back to the first episode, and we see that first conversation where he comes out and he's talking to Wilkins.
Yeah, right after Spike gets the finger, right?
So then you're like, oh, this is where we are. Mm-hmm. We get to see, and so you know that somebody's going to jump out.
There's some foreshadowing there that you know that Krieg's about to be in a mess because you see him attacked.
Oh yeah,
in the window.
You see, it's gonna be fun. After finishing the finger that Wilkins threw over to him, Spite runs back inside and begins to bark upstairs. Krieg follows him up and walks cautiously into his bedroom, where he notices something moving under the covers. He pulls back the blanket to see a mechanized hand before a pumpkin set on a table in the corner. Suddenly, it starts spewing flames, bathing the room in orange light and revealing words scribbled all over the walls and the ceiling. Trick or treat, give me something good to eat. That was a cool scene.
Yeah, I liked it. Was it blood?
It was like written in blood, wasn't it?
Orange light revealing words. Yeah, it looked like
it looked like the words were written in blood.
Yeah.
The orange light in that pumpkin was really cool. Which I have that action figure right there. See the pumpkin?
Yeah, see it.
That's a cool pumpkin.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it lights up too if you push a button on it.
Oh, I'm gonna do it.
You don't have to do that right now. But so Krieg then screams as something stabs him from under his bed.
It's a sucker.
Yeah, he falls to the ground, looks up to see Sam appear from the other side of the bed. Sam shows him a candy bar and peels back the wrapping, revealing a huge razor blade inside before attacking him. Krieg screams and manages to escape down the hallway, but trips on the landing to the stairs, falls to the bottom. The staircase is just covered in small pieces of candy and razor blades, and Krieg winces at his hands covered in bloody cuts. Struggling as Sam attacks again, Krieg makes it to the far window where he calls out to Wilkins. Just before being tackled, he tries to fight off Sam and manages to rip off his burlap sack.
And that is the second weapon of the Sam, right?
Yes.
You got the sucker blade, and then you got the razor of the candy.
That's true. And I was thinking when I was watching this, who played Krieg? Again, do you have that information in front of you? He's a well-known actor. He's been in a lot of things.
Yeah, Brian Cox.
Brian Cox. I believe he was the dad in Freddy Got Fingered. Is that right?
I'd have to watch that.
So anyway,
again.
I believe he has some goofy roles, or he doesn't care about. But he seems like a serious. He usually plays mean, serious guys. But I was thinking the entire time, I was like, what do they have this old man doing? He was like rolling around on all fours, getting cut by razor blades and stuff. I mean, I was just thinking about like him, like them shooting this and how much fun that would have been.
Right, and we don't see Sam's face yet. Right, is that coming up?
He pulled off the burlap sack.
Oh, okay.
He did see that. What do you think about his face?
I liked it. To me, like I said, I think it looks more alien / pumpkin.
And he could be. We don't know. Now I did read that there's not a sequel, a movie, but there's a sequel side story.
Or he's going to be when he's the director is going to write a sequel because he wants to reveal Sam's origin.
Oh, so that would be great.
So he's working on that, I believe.
Yeah. Yep. And you're thinking alien. I was thinking like skeleton / pumpkin. I was thinking demon.
Yeah.
of some sort.
Yeah, some kind of pumpkin demon
or something like a witch might have came up with.
Cursed a pumpkin.
Yeah, for Halloween.
Yeah,
he keeps the rules of Halloween. He's something.
Right.
I don't know.
Keeping the rules of Halloween. Yeah, you're probably right.
I don't know. Who knows? Instead of finding a human child's face underneath, Sam's face is horribly deformed pumpkin with beady eyes and sharp teeth. Krieg gains the upper hand and gets a hold of his shotgun, shooting Sam across the room where he slumps against the front door. Krieg shoots him again at close range, severing Sam's hand before dialing 911. But the line goes dead, and Krieg is stabbed in the leg again by Sam's severed hand. It crawls back to Sam, reattaches itself to the stump.
Yep.
So Sam is definitely supernatural.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's going to live through the shotgun.
Right. Shotgun didn't phase him.
His severed hand's going to come back.
I think I might have chuckled also as the shotgun like totally knocked this little boy pumpkin across the room.
Yes. When does Krieg say the line? Was it right there where he says, "You got to be"?
I don't know if it was there.
You got to be.
I think it was when the hand was moving. Maybe.
Yeah. And he does that line from the thing. That's hilarious. I love that. Sam gets up and he puts his mask back on as Krieg backs up against the wall, knocking a table and its contents over. Sam removes a pumpkin sucker from his pocket, takes a bite out of it, showing the sharp-edged bite marks. He approaches Krieg, arm raised to stab him, and he brings the sucker down at Krieg's chest. Instead of stabbing him, though, Sam lodges the sucker into a discarded candy bar that Krieg has opened earlier, which landed on his chest after he knocked over the table.
Yeah, and this is where I don't know why he went from murdering Krieg to let me just get that candy bar instead.
Yeah, so my theory was, and what I said is like he wanted the kids to finish the job.
Yeah, okay, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so like because you do see the kids, and you find out Krieg was the bus driver.
Yeah, because you know that the kids are still out there. After they're done murdering the teens, they might be coming for Krieg.
Yeah, did they come up in the elevator?
Probably. Anna,
did they push the button?
Rhonda might have sent it back down when she was done.
Yeah, I would have done that.
Yeah.
So you find out that Krieg was the bus driver and that these kids are going to deal with him. And then again, we don't know why Sam stopped right there. We do know that the kids finished the job. Mm-hmm. And again, Sam keeps the Halloween rules that you got to pass out candy, and he gets a chocolate bar. I don't know if that fulfills the requirement, or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that fixed it for him.
I don't know. It's who cares, right? we're grasping here. Sam proceeds to chew on the candy bar. He leaves the room, appearing satisfied at that point. He looks back at Krieg, who watches in puzzlement, just like we did, Chris. Before leaving the house, the door slams shut of its own accord. When then one of the pictures that Krieg had thrown into the fire, it shows the 8 kids from the bus massacre, revealing that Krieg was the driver.
Dun dun dun
dun dun dun. I like how many years ago did he drive that bus?
Yeah, it looked at least 30 or 40.
He's
years
just
ago.
getting. I mean, how many pictures did he take?
Right. If he burns some every year, I mean,
yeah, I'm just getting around to burning those. Just now.
I just finished second grade birthday party, and now here I am with Irvine.
Right. I have 3,000 pictures of me with those kids, and I am burning a little bit at a time. I'm finally getting around. I got a few more left.
Why did he keep them for so long?
I know. It's so weird. Later, a heavily bandaged Krieg answers the doorbell to give candy to some trick-or-treaters. From his porch, he sees Sam go towards Emma and Henry's house across the way, just as she is blowing out the candle to one of her jack-o'-lanterns.
Okay.
Dang.
That's
So
a tie-in.
we had to go back to go forwards.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Got to get closure.
You got to get closure. So you find out that Sam was doing more before we got that first scene where he dealt with Scarecrow Girl.
What we thought was the first kill might have been the last.
Yeah. Chris,
Sorry.
that was poetic. That's the truth. Rhonda then walks by along the street, pulling her wagon absent-mindedly. And I'm sorry, did I miss something?
No, she almost gets hit by
Oh,
the
okay.
car.
So she almost gets. She's carrying her punk, but she almost gets hit by a car carrying the werewolf girls, laughing in human form.
Yeah, if you don't watch closely on everything, you'll miss a few of those.
You
things.
really will. You really will. And
Yeah, I love how they tied it all together.
they really tie it all really well right here, and they put a bow on it for us. Billy Wilkins sits on his porch handing out candy, wearing a costume to mimic his father's appearance, complete with glasses and a bloody shirt, unaware that his father's dead. Krieg walks back inside, and as the bell rings again, he opens it to see the children from the bus massacre standing on his porch. The boy with the vampire mask says, "Trick or treat," and extends his bag before the children leap forward and begin to rip Krieg apart.
Yep, and I like the ending as well. It's
God, that was a great ending.
It's a good closing of the and it's a closure of of my favorite and I think your favorite story.
Yes.
It's closing of the school bus massacre and the movie itself. So.
Yes. And so there's these 4 short stories, but then there's this long overarching story. I don't know. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really well done. I think the way they bring it all together, because when you're watching it at first, like I said, you have to kind of pay attention, and if you don't, you're going to maybe miss it or not appreciate it as much.
Yes. And I'll tell you what I like about this movie. It's the runtime's an hour and 40 minutes. They didn't use 2 hours. They didn't use 3 hours. They only used the scenes. Every scene was needed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was no fluff.
There was no fluff or filler.
Yeah.
The moment you push play on this film, you're getting storyline that you need until the very end. And I love that. And it's all Halloween and it's all fun. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No, and it'll suck you into. It'll bring you into the story. Like
Yes.
you want to know what happens next.
Absolutely.
And if you're confused, you're kind of like, okay, let's watch it and see how it plays out, and it'll finish it up for you with a nice
Absolutely.
bow.
And because it is an hour and a half, you can watch it as many times as you want, and it's fun, and you're going to catch stuff on every turn. And it's one of those things. I think I'm going to watch this every Halloween.
Really, you're gonna add it to the list, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It takes part on Halloween. There's trick or treaters. If I don't watch it every Halloween, every other Halloween, it deserves. I mean, it deserves all the accolades and the cult following that it has. I see. It's not that often that we say that. We're just like, man, this movie was. You know what I mean? Like this movie
Right.
is just up there. I understand why everybody's putting it in their catalog.
Yeah, I liked it. I'll get into my pros. I liked Rhonda's story the best, and she was my favorite character.
Yes.
While it was confusing, good to see everything tied together. The werewolf party was really fun. The atmosphere and scenery were great, very Halloween-like. And it's goofy horror fun that doesn't take itself too seriously. The cons, it can be confusing at times in the beginning, but as long as you kind of bring yourself back and not look at it in a serious way, you'll have fun with it. I'm going to give this, Tony, out of our 13 donuts, I'm going to give it 9 out of 13 donuts. I liked it a lot.
That's a good rating. Again, there's elements of Tales from the Crypt. There is harking back to Stephen King and what he did with Creepshow, horror comic books, all that good stuff. This reeks of John Carpenter. This reeks of just Halloween. And you get a really lovable character with Sam. I say lovable.
Yeah.
A lovable horror character.
Fun.
As much as you...
He's a fun character.
He's a fun psychopathic murderer. You know what I mean?
Well, he only did a little bit of that.
That's what I'm saying. Like Sam belongs on T-shirts. Sam belongs. I like my action figure. He's a good one. I'm going to give this movie 10 out of 13 donuts.
I see you.
Okay, it's a good Halloween film. It's a bunch of short stories. It fits very well. I think it's a good movie. I think you should watch it and put it in your catalog.
I agree. That does it for this episode of Blood and Donuts. Thanks so much for listening.
Please like and subscribe. Check out our other episodes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Stop by our YouTube channel, Blood and Donuts Podcast.
Until next time, this has been Chris and Tony's Blood and Donuts.